Hello everyone, my name is Tom, I'm the Sugma Male, and you may notice that, like last week, I suddenly have less hair on the totality of my head. And that's because when I was trimming my beard earlier this week, shaping up your beard, trimming your beard, very important, is the difference between like how your entire face looks. I went to line it up around the jaw around here, I screwed it up, and I was just like, okay, scorched earth. Which, I mean, it's been a couple days, and it's already like gone from clean shaven to stubble, so I think I'll be fine. But for now, we got the clean shaven Tom, which is a very rare Tom. Anyways, today, figured since, you know, I've lost my beacon of masculinity on my face, we'll talk about the current gender wars going on, the culture war around the attack on men, or whatever is going on. I think it's kind of dumb, because for me personally, I've always felt like the concept of gender is really just not a real thing. Like, I personally I'm not fluid or non-binary or anything like that. I was assigned male at birth. I'm very naturally masculine in many different ways. I am not resistant to that in enough ways to in any way change how I interact with the world. So I'm just like, alright, I'm a cis dude. I feel no compulsion to change that. I have no dysphoria around that. I have nothing that is making me feel any type of way about that. I'm just chilling in that identity. But also at the same time, ultimately I think that it's all just a lot of social performance and whatnot. So as a result of this, as you can probably surmise, is that a word? As you can come to the conclusion to, I don't really have any strong feelings about like gender, aside from the fact that people should be allowed to do whatever they want, essentially. Like, if a guy wants to wear a dress and be like, yeah, I'm still a guy, let him do it. Finster, perfect example. This is a streamer on Twitch, if you don't know who they are, who is a straight cis male. Aside from the caption here, gay son versus fat daughter, it's a meme. He is a straight cis man. And of course, because he does this, because he dresses like this, he has a very naturally feminine appearance, allowing him to pull off very feminine outfits. As a result of this, people are always like, oh, Finster's an egg, he's secretly trans, he's secretly whatever. And I'm gonna be honest, dude, if I could pull this off, I would do the same thing. Because this is a look. It is objectively a look. And also, like, if you know me, you know that when I play video games where there's like customization options, like you can like pick your character's gender, I usually go female, mostly because the style and customization options, like with the outfits and stuff, there's going to be a bit more creative freedom there. There's going to be a lot more you can do, because as a guy, there's only so much that you can do. And for me personally, I can't pull this off. Like, I definitely am not going to be able to pull this off. I mean, look at me, bro. Like, I am a very naturally masculine guy in, like, so many different facets of myself and in who I am. There aren't really a whole lot of ways that I can go against, like, the traditional gender norms of how men dress and actually be able to pull it off. And for me personally, it's not even about the gender thing as much. I think that masculine and feminine are concepts that exist in themselves. Like, they are just independent of gender. They exist alongside gender. They're affirming concepts when people are trying to perform gender, but I do not think that they are necessarily causational to gender. They're often correlated, but I don't think that being feminine makes you a woman, being masculine makes you a man. They can affirm those things, for sure, but I don't think that those are necessarily one-to-one comparisons, if that makes any sense. So for me personally, since I'm a very masculine guy, I tend to be kind of stuck within the realms of masculine presentation. When I went to prom, this was what I wore, and this was kind of me trying to get creative within the norms of like a masculine like formal wear, which is where I think guys really have it tough. When we are trying to do formal wear, women have so many options when it comes to like all the different ways that women can customize like the way that they present themselves in formal settings. There are a lot of different things you can do. There are a lot of different types of outfits that you can wear, but as a guy, it's really just suit and tie. That's really it. And this was me trying to kind of work within those guidelines, because there's not really much else you can do. Like, I went with very non-traditional colors, very bright colors, opted for a bow tie instead of a necktie, because I think neckties are kind of dumb, and this is where I ended up. And generally, when it comes to like gender bending type, like when you see guys like Harry Styles, who are switching things up and going in a more feminine direction with their style, my problem with that isn't going against the traditions of the gender norms, it's the fact that they usually don't look good. I've never seen an outfit on Harry Styles and be like, yo, he's slaying. I'm always like, dude, you look atrocious. And it's not because he's cross-dressing, it's just because his style is not there, in my opinion. I think it's kind of homophobic that straight people are seeing him dress as embarrassingly as he is. Oh, he's queer baiting with these like gender bending outfits and trying to pass him off onto the gay community. Like, no. y'all gotta own this. The heteros have to claim this man. And I think part of it is to do with the fact that like Harry Styles definitely appeals to female gaze a lot more than the male gaze, if you ask me. I mean, dude, to be honest, when I was in high school questioning my sexuality, because I'm barely bisexual, I just want to clarify this for like the millionth time, because anytime I mention the fact that I'm attracted to women, people for some reason treat it as like a shock. The best way to paint this picture is when I was questioning my sexuality in high school, the fact that I knew so many women who were like greatly, like incredibly attracted to Harry Styles, I was like, well, if that's what an attractive man looks like, then I'm definitely straight. Anyway, back on topic, I don't actually have an issue with like men dressing in more feminine ways. In fact, I think it can be done very well. I think it can be pulled off. I don't think Harry Styles pulls it off. But in most cases, like when I think for myself, when I'm like, okay, if I were to head in that direction a little bit with my fashion, how would I do it? In a lot of cases, when I see the examples that are out there, I'm like, dude, that would never work for me. The first time was, when was this? Just under a week ago. The first time I actually saw evidence of like someone challenging that claim was this post right here of John Cena, which of course you all know I'm a wrestling fan, so I'm very familiar with John Cena, and I think in a lot of ways, like a lot of times, things that look good on John Cena tend to look good on me, like t-shirts and shorts, jorts. I'm like one of the few people I think in the world who can actually pull off jorts, and one of the other few people is John Cena, so I think usually our fashion is gonna align. Usually when I see a post verbed like this, men, what is stopping you from dressing like this? I usually have a list of reasons of what's stopping me. It's usually like, bro, that would just not work for me. But in this case, I was like, alright, y'all got me. I could definitely pull this off, for sure. I could definitely wear that and pull that off about as well as John Cena is in this picture. So I think y'all got me. I think I'm just not trying hard enough. Of course, then people started comparing that to Sam Smith wearing this, which caused a whole uproar of people being like, oh, is this what masculinity looks like? And, no, it's not, because Sam Smith, by their own admission, not a man. Sam Smith is non-binary, so their relationship to the masculine and feminine is not going to be the same. And even then, like, the wildest thing is, even after everything I've said so far in this video, the fact that this is, like, considered, like, the end of masculinity is insane, because this is an outfit that I would actually wear. Like, this is something I think I could also pull off. Like, I wear short shorts all the time. I could definitely wear a shirt like that, definitely wear jewelry like that. Like, there's nothing going on here that, like, I could not pull off. It definitely wouldn't look the same on me. It would definitely look very different, and I think it would definitely look a lot more in line with traditional masculinity on my body compared to Sam Smith's. But I could pull this off. The fact that people reacted the way that they did is kind of crazy. And I think that the point I'm trying to make here, I'm not exactly sure. I'm just kind of looking at a bunch of symbols of like what people look at to be like, oh man, masculinity is in trouble. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I don't think any of these people can look at John Cena in the face and be like, I'm more of a man than you. In fact, I think stuff like this is kind of a flex. Because it's like, bro, I can wear a skirt, I can wear high heels, and I can still be more of a man than you. In fact, someone who trained me when I was training to be a pro wrestler, for those of you who do not know, when I was a teenager, I was training to be a pro wrestler. That was like my dream before I ended up doing whatever this is. Someone by the name of Jimmy Jacobs, one of the guys who like took me under their wing because we're about the same size, and he saw potential in me, but was also like, you know, we're smaller guys, and there are certain things that are just going to be harder on you if you're a smaller guy, and he had to like kind of like instill certain things into me and be like, you know, you cannot be lacking in like certain like presentational elements. You have to like convey your strength and convey your presence, or else people aren't going to take you seriously. And that's something you gotta work twice as hard at compared to the guys who are over 6 feet easily clearing 200 pounds. And as he would tell me this, he would go out to the ring looking like this, having pink hair, wearing eyeliner, painted nails. You can't really tell in this picture, but he would usually have painted nails. And the thing is, it's like he would do this partly as a way to kind of like contrast and like make his masculinity like more prominent. Like there was one time during training that he was telling a story where he like went into Planet Fitness and he was deadlifting, and as you know, in Planet Fitness, they don't really like deadlifting. And he said that like as the guy was kicking him out, he was like, bro, I have pink hair and I'm more of a man than you. And that's something where it's like, okay, like there's so many different ways to express your gender, right? And this is like an example of someone using feminine elements to actually highlight their manhood. I think that gender is a really interesting thing because it's like such an interesting vehicle for expression in so many different ways, as long as you have an open mind to that. I can say, as someone who literally trained under this guy, as someone who got their ass beat by this guy, because that's part of wrestling training sometimes, like, this is one of, like, the most masculine guys I've ever met in my life. Like, this is literally one of the most manly men I've ever met in my life, And keep in mind, I was in wrestling training. There were plenty of big burly dudes who were smacking me around, throwing me around. This guy is one of the manliest men of all of them. So I think the point I'm trying to make, because I really just turned on the camera to kind of rant about this, is that the gender norms that we exist under and the rigidness of them are actually very restrictive, which I mean, I don't think that's a bold statement. Even if you're like cis, even if you're in other ways like following the norms of society, I think it's still even restrictive then, especially for guys, because it's like there's an uproar over John Cena wearing a skirt. But if a woman wears jeans, if a woman dresses in a way that's more traditionally masculine, there's not the same uproar. I think there are some weirdos out there who want there to be the same uproar either way, but there isn't. And despite the fact that I think gender is kind of a fragile concept that is like very much a product of our society and social conditioning and all that stuff, I also think it's a very interesting vehicle and very useful vehicle for self-expression. And that's part of why, you know, being trans can either be a very affirming or a very depressing experience, because the difference between expressing yourself the way that you feel on the inside through your gender, I think, is a very impactful aspect of your life. It's just like the way that you were able to perform and express yourself in society. Also, like, I'm sure that most of you guys are aware of this, but when I make these videos, I'm not scripting, I'm kind of just going stream of consciousness. And if you have disagreements with some of the things that I say, as long as they're reasonable, as long as you're not being like super reactionary or anything, or like being bigoted or whatever, in like the case of like this topic, if you feel like I'm off on any of these points, if you have more insight due to your own personal experiences or identity, I'm fully open to hearing that. Share that in the comments. I also want to take a second real quick in this video to thank everyone for the fact that like now I'm getting into a consistent rhythm here, making videos. I put out a post on Twitter earlier this week just mentioning that like even though the views have been the best they've ever been for you guys caring enough to watch, but you can't watch anything if I'm not putting it out, so it's kind of been a joint effort that we've been doing great at. Since I'm going in a consistent direction, I felt it was time to actually do a call to action and say, hey guys, listen, over the last couple years, because I've done changes to the content here, and now the subscribers been going down very steadily creeping down. If you guys could subscribe, or if you are subscribed, just signal boost and like share and like get more people to, you know, be aware of the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing and we're staying consistent, and we've almost rounded up to the nearest 100 here on the subscriber count. So I just really want to like just express that I deeply appreciate that. And also, if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, make sure you do that. But anyways, of course, thank you for watching, and I think that's about all I gotta say for this week.